All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Expitality Outdoors, where we talk about all things experiential outdoor hospitality, the experience of hospitality, because it's the experience of hospitality that transforms the world. I'm Michelle Oliver, and this is what you need to know from the people shaping outdoor hospitality. I can't believe your name is Tiffany Rose. How can you have that name, Tiffany? I'm so excited
Yes.
to have you here
Oh,
today.
thank you. I'm
Welcome.
so honored to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time and being interested in learning about my work and how it can affect outdoor hospitality and experiences.
Well, we're talking today about scent, and I'm joking because she has this beautiful name, Rose, which is one of the most lovely scents in the universe, in my opinion. But Tiffany, why don't you just introduce yourself really quickly? Tell us a little bit about your company, and then I want to show everyone my beautiful gifts. So I'm excited to work with you. Share with us. Who are you? Why are you
Absolutely.
doing this?
My name is Tiffany Rose Goodyear, Diamonds and Tires, which also have a different
Diamonds and
fragrance.
tires. Oh,
So
I love
I
that. Diamonds, tires, and gardens, right?
exactly. It's funny. My name is also very branded, which is weird. And I don't, my
Yeah.
parents deny everything, but I am very thankful for my name. And Tiffany Rose is elusive of the work that I do. So I own Scentex. It's Scentex, like Scent Experience. And we are an event service company that initiates activations in live experiences at events. And we really play into the world of hospitality, the world of marketing and branding and event planning. So, but we only focus on the fifth and sometimes the most forgotten sensory receptor, and that is the sense of smell.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, I think all of us know now from all the research that has been done and our own experiences how powerful the scent of smell is. I mean, it immediately causes you to. This is why, like the whole campfire thing and s'mores and cinnamon, and especially this time of year, all the autumnal scents are just kind of overbearing, honestly. I'd rather just walk in nature and smell those. But you go into a coffee shop and the candles are lit and they're serving you pumpkin everything. So, yes, it's really, really powerful.
And to your point about the research, I think I was telling somebody recently that one of the silver linings of COVID is that the experience of people losing their sense of smell sort of en masse really forced us as a culture to reconsider what our relationship with our own sense of smell is and to talk about the sense of smell and to talk about how important it is in our lives, not only from campfires recollection of being at an amazing experience with your
Yeah.
friends or family going camping, but also fire in general and thinking about it as your nose is like the first alert to danger as well. And I think that's another thing we forget about how important our sense of smell is in our daily lives. It can warn us of something that terrible is going on. It can tell us if something doesn't smell good, but also it is a another creative tool we can use in our lives to create more memorable and transformative experiences. And I would say, especially in this digital now AI world that we live in,
Yeah.
I mean, what does AI smell like? Nothing, right? What does AI smell? It doesn't do smelling. And I think that the more we lose connection to our physical bodies because of this digital world we live in, the less like human we are, the less texture we have to our lives. So I think it's more important now than ever to get outside. That's one way to do it, right? Go outside, go take a walk, go smell nature. But the other way,
Yeah.
since many of us are stuck in our offices, is to incorporate scent in our lives in a different shared experience and a created environment as well. So that's
Yeah.
sort of the world we live in.
There are several applications for outdoor hospitality that I do want to talk about. I know that this is often the case in hotels. I live in Cherry Creek, and I'm sure you're familiar with the Clayton Hotel. I love walking in there because it's the perfect scent. And there's a shop at the mall that is Canada Goose, I think it's called. They have a beautiful scent. It changes everything immediately, subconsciously for your experience in a specific environment. So when we talk about outdoor hospitality, yes, all the smells from nature, but outdoor hospitality has a lot of indoor places as well. So I do want to speak, if you could, a little bit about how people are affected. Like when you walk into a tiny home or a clubhouse or a spa environment, these places offer all different types and levels of experiences, but also the actual experiences that they could potentially work with you to create, because everyone is looking for, how do I differentiate myself? We offer hiking, we offer kayaking, we might offer s'mores kits, but there are really magical things that you can do with scents. So those are the two things I'd love for you to share.
Think the first thing is just to consider it, right? Like to think about it when you're thinking about creating any environment. That's from an
Mm.
event planner's perspective, from a museum curator's perspective, from an interior designer's perspective, even an architect, right? If you're creating space, you should be thinking about your space as serving human bodies and their nervous systems. And we have multiple sensory receptors. And it doesn't always make sense to strategically think about them all from like an execution or budgetary perspective, but as long as you're considering them when you're creating an environment. And secondly, it's the story that you're trying to tell, right? If you're working with an architect or a designer and creating a space for a certain purpose, it is thinking about, again, the entire human body and not just forgetting what we're smelling in this space and the story that you're trying to tell, and then telling that story through scent as well. I was actually in, where was I? I think I was in Tampa. I was at the JW in Tampa recently, and I was in the spa, and they had this eucalyptus spray. And I can't see without my glasses or my contacts. So I was like reading the instructions while I was like just
Oh gosh.
over spraying this eucalyptus in the shower. I stepped in the shower having oversprayed, and it was like ooh, my entire every sensitive area on my body, from like my eyeballs to just everything, was just on fire because of the eucalyptus spray. And let me tell you, that was a full sensory experience that I will never forget.
Yeah.
And again, it's because they thought of it. I might have overdone it, but it is truly memorable. And the more that the story that you are telling in a space triggers each of your sensory receptors, the more activity in your brain. And again, the more likely you are to remember that experience.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a seemingly subtle nuance and yet unbelievably powerful, isn't it? And I think of so many of the places I've been that I was just put off by a smell. And you don't, there's this, oh my gosh, this is the worst. This cleaning smell that came from COVID, where everything has that. I still go into, like, if you go into a lower end hotel, they're still doing this. And you walk in, it's just like, oh, I don't want to breathe anything because I'm glad it's clean, but it actually really feels and smells toxic. And that is not an inviting aroma for a
Well, it
hotel
makes you feel like a
environment.
hospital, right? Like hospitals
It's
have that sort of like
awful. Yeah.
um
Chemical,
sanitation,
chemical.
chemical,
Yes.
right? And it's like, yeah, it's not pleasant, it's not warm, it doesn't tell a story, it doesn't feel good. Um, and thinking it's so funny, I actually am pitching a client that wants their event to smell like chlorine, which is really interesting. So I would
Oh,
say
wow.
using any kind of scent, whether it's positive or sort of looked at as less pleasant, can also tell a story. So
Right.
while I would say 99% of the time, the fragrances that we use are overwhelmingly pleasant, using sometimes more challenging fragrances and environments also can serve a purpose.
That is really interesting. I was going to say the same thing is everything does tell a story. It's just a matter of is it intentional, right? Or accidental. And that sanitization smell to me is like the smell of fear and ew, get me out of here. Like I don't want to be in this environment. Why are they talk about overspraying, right?
Right.
And creating like an overly offensive environment. So that's really interesting, chlorine. And so what kinds of things come to mind for you when you think about outdoor hospitality? I think there's a lot of natural things, but what we're doing in outdoor hospitality is really breaking down the walls, right? Everyone wants glamping comes from wanting to be in nature in a glamorous way, luxury. So we want to pull the indoors out. So a lot of design elements that normally you would find inside are being represented, outside in nature, which is a really compelling thing. And then bringing the outdoors inside. So we might do that through decks, through gardens, through, like little hideaway luxury places that you can sit that are actually outside. They do this really well in more tropical environments. Obviously, it's a little different in Colorado, but I'm thinking about how would you approach that to bring more elegant scent outside and more nature, rustic types of smells to the inside, but not in a cringy sort of way where it's too much pumpkin smell or whatever's happening during this season. It just is, I don't know, it's a lot.
I think most of the fragrance industry uses both naturals and synthetics. There are a lot of fragrance materials that have been over harvested or are very difficult to get. So I would say just first to address
Hmm.
that, that's very common in fine fragrance. And I don't think that that deters like answering your question in the sense that I think back to the idea of storytelling, whatever that natural environment is that you're trying to create a scent for, it really needs to weave in what you already smell, right? I can picture a
Yeah,
like if you're in the Bahamas, right? Like you're near the ocean, you smell that freshness and almost a kind of a muskiness too, right? Like there's a lot of heaviness to that and to that smell environment, but then taking in consideration like the foods that you're eating, the I mean, when I'm in the islands, it feels like all I do is eat fruit, right? So thinking about like
right.
what are the natural things that are already growing in that environment, and then bringing those into a curated fragrance that maybe can be used indoors, but also, as you mentioned, if all the doors are open and the space from indoor to outdoors is seamless, that those natural smells are being weaved in seamlessly into a curated smell that may be indoors. And it I would recommend using again like fragrances and materials chosen that grow in that environment. So
I
um
like that.
using like a coconut or using palm or hibiscus, things like that. I think that tells a story seamlessly. And I think the idea too is like having guests be able to take that with them. So if you're in your home and maybe it is snowing
Yeah,
outside, that is a little discordant in that you're looking at snow and smelling
mhm,
the tropics, but that is the gift of smell, is that you could take that smell
right.
home to another environment and then have it really be transportive to that amazing memory that you had when
Yeah.
staying and experiencing outdoor hospitality. And that blending of both natural smells and strategic smells.
I love that. So, one of the opportunities, and you're welcome to share anything that comes up for you, obviously, Tiffany, but this idea of curated smells, like we're always looking at merchandise, right? How do we merchandise? How do we create experiences for people? And I know that you facilitate these workshops where people can actually create their own scent and they could take it home with them. And isn't that wonderful? When you were sharing that, I was imagining that as a gift, like you're sending to someone, remember when we did this? And here's your candle or your scent or whatever, and then let's do it again next year. There's just so many ways to communicate with scent that helps people down that path. Everything is a story, right? So it's just where do you want to guide people? But I think that's such a really unique experience to create your own scent.
So, you're alluding to the two of the services that we offer. We have a workshop and a design your diffuser station, and we've taken the heavy lifting out of fragrance creation for you. Our current fragrance families are based on the seasons. So we have summer, spring, winter, fall. Fall, you've mentioned, very gourmand, pumpkin spice. That's actually
Yeah,
probably one of our most popular. So we've
I
curated these
know.
fragrance families.
I don't know what's
Um,
wrong with me. I just don't like it. All of that fall
well,
stuff. Go ahead.
it's all subjective, so you don't have to
Yeah,
like it. So you,
yeah. I
and
don't
maybe
know
you'll
why I'm complaining about
spend
it.
less time. I mean, we can't like everything all the time. It is more popular, but that doesn't mean it's better. Um,
Yeah.
so our interactive station and our workshop, which we do all over the country, and we partner with a lot of hotels and meeting planners,
Mhm.
is for guests to create their own custom fragrance and take home a rediffuser with them of what they created. So we don't do personal perfume or fragrances. We only scent spaces. And our next iteration of that will be destinations. So next year, I know we're working on like a coastal fragrance family, a western fragrance family,
Perfect.
like Northern California fragrance family. So all of those fragrance materials, and there's 9 per setup. So there's 3 top notes, 3 middle notes, 3 base notes, and it's like writing music. Like you need all 3 to blend to make a complete fragrance.
Interesting.
So we'll move from well, and including the seasons into destinations. And part of that, again, we'll be
Mm.
using fragrance materials that are grown in those destinations, and and fragrances that are reminiscent of the natural environment.
Oh, that is wonderful. And I know we talked about this before, but that fits in perfectly with our furniture packages for tiny homes for outdoor hospitality. And people often just don't think about it. It's all they can do to think of the accommodations and the furniture and the OS&E, and then what else do we have to do? And they're over budget. And this one simple thing can just be included with those packages. You change it out during the seasons, and now you have this destination coming. I'm excited to learn about that because I'm working with boutique hotels now all over the globe, and that's just a kind of a no-brainer that they should be looking at.
Well, and I think it's funny. We created the interactive station initially in order to educate people about the work that we do in atmospheric aroma, because
Hmm.
if an environment is scented, there's not like a sign, or somebody doesn't go on and be the voice of
Right.
God and say, "Does everybody realize it smells great in here?" It's just kind of part of that storytelling and the environment that you've created. So in
Right.
order to sort of like facilitate our services at events is why we created the interactive station. But people were like, this is so fun and so interesting, and it's just an entree
Yeah.
into scent. The scent world is
Yeah.
so fascinating and so rich, but I think there is, which I think is why it's important that we, even like you reached out and we're talking today, and whoever's listening in the audience, to say, oh, I haven't thought about that in a while, or I never thought about that, or I'm not,
Right.
everybody, there's always somebody in a group that says, I'm not very good at smelling, and I challenge them, do you taste your food? And then they say, yes. Do you drink wine? Yes. You're an excellent smeller. Most of us have excellent noses. We have excellent senses of smell. We just don't know how to use it and don't know how to talk about it. So, I
Hmm.
mean, again, just thinking about scent differently, thinking about what you're smelling. I invite everybody, to walk into a room today and take a deep breath through your nose and say, what does this smell like? And I think that will make, when you're doing furniture selection or when you're doing
Yeah.
interior design, it's like it will then be second nature to also say, well, and what do I want this to smell like?
Yeah, it's really important and really fun and different. I'm also thinking as you're speaking about how in outdoor hospitality, we're always trying to create new opportunities for community. And this opens up a conversation, to your point, that people rarely talk about unless there's like an intense offensive odor.
Exactly.
People,
Hmm.
they're not really talking about it. So it can be such a fun, unique way to bring people together. And the other thing with outdoor hospitality is like we really are trying to help people connect more, not only with nature, with each other, but how do you connect with nature through your senses? That's why we're doing, barefoot trails and all the things. So this is a wonderful, I love the idea of doing the workshops and offering that through you as just another community experience for the people that are for your guests. I think it's so different. I haven't seen anyone do it on site. I think we could figure out how to do that. You could help
I would love
us,
that.
right?
One of my favorite things to do is when I am leading a workshop is that scent is so personal and so intimate, right? Like most scent is on our body. So
Yeah.
even for somebody to smell your perfume, you have to be in a very close physical space. And scent, because of where it's located in your brain, and we talked a little bit about this earlier, its relationship to memory
Mm.
and emotion. Lost a little guy there. Um, it's so interesting to see people because we do a lot of groups for corporate to see people who, they may see each other every day and
Yeah.
they know each other's work. They might know each other's family members at a very like surface level. But watching people talk about fragrance really it brings up childhood memories. Always it brings up like
Oh,
where they
yeah.
grew up, who they were close with in their family, what their grandma smelled like, what's the cereal they liked as a kid. These really intimate details that these groups get to share with each other and it invites that kind of conversation smelling together. It's similar to eating together, right? Breaking
Yeah.
bread is is another way we build community. I'm just gonna have to
Good,
let
good,
gravity take a hold of that one.
good
Is
catch.
another way we create community, and this does that as well.
Exactly.
In a very similar way that food does, right? And food does that partially because of the stories connected with food, what your mother cooked you, where your family's from. Scent does that same thing.
Yeah, it's very intimate, isn't it? Because it is like a very personal, intimate thing. And then you share it with everyone else, and you're building deeper relationships with people without even knowing it. So I think all of those things are so important. So, can you tell me about this? Look at this beautiful
So
package. Can I
that
show everyone?
is, oh, please, yes. So,
Look at the packaging, the presentation. I don't know if I'm showing it properly there. I don't even know
that's
what's
the
in here.
back of
I've
the
not yet
diffuser.
opened this. Well,
Um,
I want them to see your
well,
card. There we go.
Perfect. There
Is
we
that better?
go.
Okay.
Yes, it's great.
That's
So that is the
prettier.
front. On the back of the diffuser, it does say it's TSA approved since we do these workshops and stations all over the country. People have to get on a
Yes, look at
plane.
that.
So
You're
part
so
of that
smart.
experience is making sure it gets home. And then
That
the
is really
envelope
important.
that you
Look at the
have,
presentation, everyone. Like, this is so important. Just want to draw attention to that, Tiffany.
thank you, because it really, I mean, I created it in order for that in itself to be a sensory tactile experience. So you can hear the Velcro when you open it through the wax seal, and we put Velcro in
See the
because
wax
then
seal? Yeah.
you can close it. And then all of our branding is in shades of black and white so that there's no innate bias. Like if we were coming on strong with a color that was related to a particular scent, I'm hearing you orange, like you'd start smelling orange. If
Right.
we're talking about
Right.
scent and you're
So
seeing a color,
true.
like your brain is so powerful.
Yeah.
So that's why we keep everything. We use codes for everything. So nothing in your package, although I'm going to steer you against 1202, Michelle, because I can already tell based on this conversation that will not be your favorite. The
I
samples in
don't
that.
know that. I mean, I'm
Oh,
not
I know.
closed-minded. I'm just saying,
It's based
I'm
on the four
sure
seasons.
I'm sure your scents are better.
Well, no,
I just,
they're all beautiful, but again, so the samples in your sample, that's
Mhm.
how we send out samples to potential clients so they can smell. So again,
Okay.
if you're having a tropical event, we would have all those four samples curated to your
These are
specific
the,
event, and then that's how you would try them in order to nail down um, your particular fragrance. But we send these out to people just as an example of how we serve our clients. There's a place for taking notes. We suggest that you
Mhm.
limit your other sensory stimulants, maybe not have a order pizza while you're doing this, and then just create sort of an open
Shouldn't
mind,
be
a calm
ordering pizza
space.
anyway. Don't be eating pizza. Yeah.
Don't be eating pizza anyway.
Right. Let me interrupt you if I could for a moment. So is this something, Tiffany, that you like if I have a little, I don't know, let's just say it's a small RV resort or a mom and pop campground type of thing. Can I create one? Would you help me create one of these events on my property? Would this be sent out to all the people? Like, how would we do that from afar? Or would you need to be on site like it needs to be here in Colorado?
So if I'm understanding you correctly, what would be the process to sort of do a more permanent installation of fragrance at one of your properties? The
Yeah, somehow to integrate it so like people could sign up for a workshop.
Okay, so the sent envelope is only to send samples for people to buy it, like for either a more permanent installation or an event. To do the
Okay.
workshop, what we would do is we would get like the you choose your fragrance family or destination as those come online, and then we
Mhm.
would get the number of people in the audience, and we have a lead staff that we usually fly out, and then depending on the group size, there's local staff to help make them on site. So then either for the interactive station or the workshop, our team leads you through again the top notes, middle notes, base notes. The guests choose them, and then we make them the re-diffusers there on site.
Okay, because so many people, as you know, we're talking about story a lot here. And when people are starting a resort, or maybe it's just a new season and they want to do something new, I think it's a really creative, great way to get your existing guests involved in creating the resort story. You know, it binds them, it bonds them to you, and they become part of helping you build your business. I'm working with clients right now who have brand new developments. And a big part of the marketing is how do we tell the story of building the resort? People love that. And this could just be something that's integrated into it, like the first movers, you know, the first guests who come in summer. We have a workshop and we create this, or you could have scents for 2026, you know, and change it every year and turn it into something that's really unique and experiential. So many people think that what they're doing is very unique, and yet every other resort is doing it. And it's only the guests that know, well, I did this, you know, before, but this is just so special. So I just want to encourage people to have this conversation either with me or with you and see what we can bring to outdoor hospitality or even boutique hotels and anyone who sees this, anyone who smells, right?
Exactly, which is most of us. And if you don't,
Yeah,
I
you know
I
someone
have
who does, right?
exactly know somebody who does.
Okay, so how do I do this? Can we do this?
Um,
Can I sample these? Like, how would I
oh
do
yeah, so
that?
you just open
There's
the envelope.
already, okay, so there's already, here's a scent, right?
Hmm.
1430. So do I just,
You don't even need to tear it, but you can.
oh,
There are the tear tabs on there. I think that's if there's a double seal, which we don't need to keep them out of hands of children.
mm, okay.
So you just kind of pop, it's like a Ziploc bag. They're not the easiest things to open, but they are
Oh, they actually are. It's actually easy.
and then you'll take
Oh,
out
and then
the
there's
scent
a
strip,
scent
and then
strip.
the fragrance is on the smaller end. So I actually have one with me as well. So the fragrance is on the smaller
Oh, see,
ends.
now this is what happens when you smell something. Like you were saying, the first thing I thought was, this smells like Christmas to
Which
me.
number are you at?
1430.
So that, and that corresponds with our winter fragrance family. So you are right
Yeah.
on.
Oh my gosh, and it's delicious. Like it's, well, delicious is the wrong word. It's relaxing and warm, and then there's like this element of excitement. That's what Christmas is, right? Ah, it's so lovely. I like that, Tiffany. This is really fun. Everyone needs to learn more about you and do this.
I would love that.
I, I'm going to open one more just for
Perfect.
the one that I said I wouldn't like, just to see that you think I wouldn't like. Because I
She
think
told
you're,
us, yeah.
I just don't like the overkill, it's all in the quality of the fragrance. So, oh, now see, I actually like this.
Nice. It's pumpkin spice latte.
It's
Just
like,
kidding.
oh God, no. It smells like cider to me.
Okay, I could see that there's some apple notes in there for sure. But that is our
Yeah, I
that is our fall fragrance. And again, we really do lean
and
into fine
then
fragrance.
yeah,
So
and you always have a personal memory. Like you guys should try just play with this and realize how much it can impact your guests. Like the first thing, the other one was, oh, it's Christmas. This to me, first thing I remembered was we used to do I built a Waldorf school and we always had apple cider. Like we would do the old fashioned, and I would stand there and make sure the kids, didn't do anything crazy, and it smelled like this. There must be apple in it. Yeah, it's really great. And like cinnamon and leaves and dirt.
yeah, it's so funny. I actually have dirt with me. That's what I'm smelling.
Oh,
I think this
really?
is dirt. Yeah, it's for the same client that wants chlorine. So I'm
Oh
here.
my gosh, I was joking. I think that's great.
No, wait, this is dirt. I have gasoline, I have rubber, I have dirt, I have, and I was mentioning very earlier in this discussion about like I would say typically unpleasant can also tell a good story.
I love that, Tiffany. I mean, think of outdoor hospitality. You can bring home like people want to get dirty, right? You could bring home all these fragrances of dirt and leaves and lakes and I don't know, what else are we doing? Trees, like pine trees and all of that. Just it is, as you said, reliving. It's like summer camp. Go back, you go back to summer camp in your mind, which is what every adult is wanting to do when they go glamping. They just want that memory of connection with nature, and this is such a vehicle for connection to your
Absolutely.
memories. I think it's so much more powerful than we have ever thought about it.
Well, and I think we are thinking about it more. The the fragrance industry is growing at a rapid clip. I think both in personal and spatial and part of that is that it's been so forgotten for so long and it is such an important piece about how we make meaning in our lives. I mean, we make meaning based on our sensory experiences. And if we're forgetting an entire sensory receptor, we're not living our lives to the fullest. And it is just another way to sort of reconnect to our human bodies, to reconnect to the earth, to reconnect to each other that is beyond our extremely digital existence. So we need
Yes.
balance.
Do you have a way to diffuse these scents? Like if you wanted to diffuse it through an entire hotel lobby or an entire apartment complex, are you able to do that? Do you know the technology for doing that?
Yes, I mean, it's the same technology we use for large scale events. I try to keep scent out of the HVAC because I think there is a point at which it can be overpowering and it can lead to olfactory fatigue. So instead of like every
Mm,
floor on a hotel smelling the same as the lobby, have the lobby smell so that your guests, whether they're coming in and out, it still smells like they're in a new environment. Um, I did. I had the W Hotel in Aspen was kind enough to turn off their fragrance for an event that we did. And the
Oh,
entire staff was like, "We want this fragrance. We want this fragrance." And I'm like, "You think you love it because it's different because you haven't smelled your own fragrance if you're there every
right.
single day." And so
Oh, so true.
it's not that they didn't love it, and it's not that they didn't truly believe that they wanted to like switch the fragrance, but it had more to do with their relationship to their branded fragrance. So I think I think hotel lobbies are a wonderful way to, again, give a guest experience that is completely immersive. And I think that keeping fragrance sort of out of the hallways or out of the ballrooms allows those spaces to give you some distance from the lobby scent, but also in ballrooms and event spaces, that means you can change the scent to match that event environment.
So how do you diffuse it to, like, we need that
We
where I live for sure in the
we
lobby.
use we use commercial scent machines.
Okay.
So they have a very large throw, is what you would call that. They're cold diffusion technology, so there's no heat, there's no moisture. It's not something you can just like order off Amazon. They're just a little bit more powerful than that.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well, the opportunities are absolutely endless for anyone who is listening to this. And I would love to hear how people want to implement this in their spaces. Like, no matter what you have, a home, a boutique hotel, an outdoor hospitality, the clubhouses that I've been in, I've never been in a clubhouse except like a really high-end eco resort or something. But that you guys can differentiate yourselves by doing this. I've never been into a clubhouse like at a regular RV resort or an upscale RV resort where they thought about scent.
Well, and I think
We're
that
missing, they're missing, we're missing this, you guys.
exactly. And I think that, I mean, I would love anybody that's really interested to reach out. Our website is scent-ex.com, SCENT-EX.com. You can find us on Instagram. We would love to answer your questions. We'd love to be of service. We'd love our earbuds to stay in our ears. I don't know why that's happening.
I
Um,
don't know. Can happen.
but yeah, we this conversation has been great. And again, I think the first step is to think about it. And then the second step is to think about what can I do? Like, what strategically can I do to change this environment and what apparatus is out there? I think everybody should be scenting their bathrooms. If you do not have a diffuser in your or a candle in your public restrooms, you are doing your guests a disservice.
Yes, that is for sure. Pay attention. These are things that are just like in your own home, you think about it. So in your business, it's even more important. We're influencing and affecting and impacting our guests. This is such a simple way. Okay, Tiffany, if there's any other burning desire you have, anything else you'd like to share, this is the moment.
Again, I just invite everybody to, we'll bring this back to my name, to smell the roses, right? Smell the rooms around you, smell your environments. If you're walking by a plant, if you're taking a walk outdoors and you smell something, like see where your nose leads you. Smell your food even more deeply. Smell your morning coffee more deeply. It'll taste even better if you are more intentional about it. And really appreciate
So
again our sense of
true.
smell. It does so much for us. It helps us find our husbands and our mates. Like there's a lot of research about immune systems and how you smell other people's immune systems when you're trying to mate with them and how uh, again, we choose things based on scent, or we're like sometimes turned off by scent and we don't know why. So I just
Yeah.
really invite people to use their nose and see what that brings them and just live a little bit more richly.
Live a little bit more richly. Smell the roses, everyone.
Smell the roses.
And I will put all of your contact information in the comments as soon as we get off here. So you're all welcome to reach out to her directly or send me a message and I'll connect you. And just so happy that we finally did this.
Yes,
We've been
thank you.
trying to
Thank you.
do it for a while.
Despite the technical difficulties.
Yeah, and we'll do it again because I want to come down to your place, and Tiffany does other magical things as well. So we'll be sharing more about that. Okay. God bless you. Thank you so much. This was
Thank
really
you
fun.
so much. Thanks to everybody that
Enjoy.
watched.
Yeah, thank you everyone, and enjoy the hospitality conference in
Thank
Vegas
you.
where she comes to us from. Thank you.